I'm Jo, and thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to tell you a little about my Net Galley TBR for 2024. Now, those of you that have been around here before know that I do a yearly Net Galley TBR reading challenge. Okay, this is a challenge that I set for myself. The goal is basically to read all of the books that are on my Net Galley TBR list. Okay. The goal is I want to get my feedback ratio to 100%. Currently I finished 2023 with a ratio of 86%. Not bad. It was an improvement. I did read several books off of my TBR from last year, so I did improve it. Unfortunately, I did also request a lot of new books. Those of you that are on NetGalley know the struggle. You know the struggle, people. I know you do. It is so difficult to not request new books or grab new ones from the Read Now. It's just so easy to find great books on there, and you just go through. So anyway, I'm trying to be more disciplined. In fact, the books that I did add to my list, apart from a couple which I really wanted to read them, so I've got those, but most of the ones that I requested and things are books that I want to read for my clock reading challenge this year. So I'm justifying it from that, okay? Yes, so I will read them, and I have the extra motivation. So I currently have 19 books on my Net Galley TBR list. I'm just going to scroll through the computer here so I can tell you all about them. So the first one that I have on here is 381. This one right here. This one obviously is 3 different numbers that I can use for the clock reading challenge, so it appeals from that point of view. Should I need books for 3, 8 or 1, I can use this book for any of those if need be. But so that's a valid reason why I requested this one. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about this one. So this is an astonishing literary crossover novel about the pressures of growing up and the nature of authorship. Okay, so we have a curator of an archive of 21st century's primitive internet, and she stumbles across a story posted in the summer of 2024, and she's drawn into the mystery of the text, okay, about whether it's autobiography, fantasy, or complete fraud, and the significance of the recurring number 381. Okay, so I don't know, this it appealed to me, this one. So she's gonna be following various different clues and things, trying to get to the bottom of all that. Now the next one that I got, this actually wasn't to do with anything. This is because part of the Right Reads tribe over on Twitter, and I've done various different book tours in collaboration with them, hosting them on my site for book spotlights and things like that. And one author who comes up an awful lot, she's very prolific, she's writing lots of books, is Victoria Williamson. And every single time she does a tour, the feedback for her books is amazing. Everyone seems to really love them. So there's, hundreds and thousands of book bloggers that are part of the Right Reads book tours and things, and they're reviewing these books, and they all seem to have very positive things to say about her stuff. So, War of the Wind, this one right here, I've been part of the book tour for this, where I hosted a book spotlight over at joleenstar.com. I will link that up for you if you want to go and check it out. It's also already one of my top viewed book spotlights. The one that I did, in fact, my highest viewed book spotlight for last year was, again, for a book spotlight that I did for Victoria Williamson as part of the Right Reads book tours. And that got over, I can't remember the exact number, but I know it was over 3,000, almost 4,000 views doing that, which for a book spotlight is quite high. This one, literally just published it this month, and it's already at nearly 5,000 views. So there you go. Just, I don't know if that's because of this author being extremely popular. Although I have been sent in the past art copies, I haven't got around to reading them. Apologies for that. But this one, they sent a link so that I could get a copy via Net Galley, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a try because this one sounded interesting. So we're on a remote Scottish island. 14-year-old Max's life is changed forever when he loses his hearing in a boating accident. Okay, now he has to navigate a new silent world alone. Even his parents don't understand what wearing a hearing aid doesn't mean he can actually hear them. And he's placed in a special educational needs class surrounded by kids he once picked on. Okay, so when people start acting strangely and Max's hearing aid picks up odd sounds from a new wind farm off the coast, he suspects a sinister scientist is using wind turbines to experiment on islanders. Okay, could being different be an advantage? Max enlists the help of his classmates to shut down the government's secret test before it spins out of control. Now, this book has won so many nominations. I mean, it's shortlisted, longlisted for so many different awards. It's also a Financial Times Book of the Year, among other things. I was like, okay, an eco mystery. This could be something, you know, I need to start my Victoria Williamson journey. So I'm going to go in for this one. So I got a copy of that on Net Galley anyway. So looking forward to that. The next one, now this one I requested. And so thank you for the copy for the publisher here. Really appreciate this. This is One of the Good Guys. Okay, now this book, I have read so many good things about this book. Everyone seems to be loving it, and I'm actually reading it at the moment, and I have to say, it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm about 30% into it. It's a slightly long. I don't know how many pages this is. It's like 400 and something pages long, but I'm about 30% into it because I'm reading it obviously by the Net Galley one, so it's the electronic version. But so far, really enjoying it. So anyway, let's see. This is a psychological thriller. You know, I like my psychological thrillers if you've been here before. So anyway, this one is about gender and power and how both are captured in contemporary media. So it's quite an interesting theme for this one. So basically we have Cole, who is recently separated from his wife, and he leaves London to have a fresh start in the countryside. And he accepts a job there as a wildlife ranger, and he's settled into his nice cozy seaside cottage and enjoying being away from the hustle and bustle of the city and things like that. Then he meets Leonora, who's a reclusive artist who's living basically next door to him, and the two have a connection. Okay. Then we have two young women activists who basically they're doing this long walk thing to raise awareness about gendered violence and things, and they end up disappearing from the cliffs near where Cole and Leonora are. And so basically Cole and Leonora find themselves in the middle of the police investigation. And this starts a media firestorm as, you know, everyone learns about what's going on and stuff like that. So, it's going to be interesting, this one. I'm like I said, I'm already enjoying it. But it raises a lot of questions. It raises a lot of questions about gender violence and things, and, you know, why most women are still afraid to walk home alone at night. And, you know, it brings up a lot of stuff. It brings up a lot of stuff. So I think this would potentially be a good one for a book club read as well. Because I think the conversation that it could spark, there's a lot there. Next up, we have 27 Minutes by Ashley Tate here. This one, technically, I can use this for the clock reading challenge because it has 7 on it. So I can use that there. But again, this is just one that appealed to me. So we have The Question. For the last 10 years, the small claustrophobic town of West Wilmer has been struggling to understand one thing. Why did it take young Grant Dean 27 minutes to call for help on the fateful night of the car accident that took the life of his beloved sister Phoebe? If he called sooner, she might still be alive. Okay, so there we get this 27 minutes. We have the title of our book. Okay, I like it when these things come together. So then we've got The Secret. As the anniversary of Phoebe's death approaches, Grant is consumed by memories of that night on the bridge and everything he lost, his future, his reputation, his little sister. And the secret he's been keeping all these years is suffocating him. But he and Phoebe weren't the only ones in the car that night. Becca was there. She knows what happened, and she will do anything to help Grant keep his secret. Intrigued about Becca? I know I am. And then we have The Truth. So everyone in West Wilmer remembers Phoebe, but only June remembers that another person was lost that night. Her brother Wyatt has been missing for 10 years, and now June is alone. No family, no friends, until someone appears at her door. Someone who may know where Wyatt went all those years ago. Someone who knows what really happened on the bridge that night. Someone who is ready to tell the truth. Now, tell me, does this just not appeal to you as a book? It's pulling me in. The description here is pulling me in. It sounds like it has all the elements of the sort of books that I love. Okay, so I think this is going to be one of those gripping stories that has lots of twists and things along the way. I really hope it will. Definitely lots of dark secrets and things in there. So yeah, it ticks all the boxes for me on that one. So I'm really hoping that one's going to live up to the hype that I've given it within myself. So anyway, there's that one. Next up, we have Just One Night in Rome. Now, this one, again, good for the clock reading challenge because it's got the 1. But also, it is set in Rome. Those of you that don't know, I live in Rome, in Italy. I've lived here for over half my life now. I'm originally from the UK. But basically, I came here for 3 days and ended up staying. And I'm still here. But anyway, so this book, obviously, romance vibes here. So we have, let me read the thing for you. So they live on opposite ends of the globe. Is one unforgettable evening enough to forever intertwine the lives of 2 strangers? Moving on. When Josie books her trip to Italy, she only has one thing in mind: to escape from her ex and men in general. In Rome, fate deals a curious hand as she finds herself sharing a hostel room with a globe-trotter Leo. Beyond his outrageously good looks, the Chilean backpacker unsettles Josie with his persistent questions, causing her to rethink her life choices. Leo invites her on an adventure of her life, an adventurous night roaming the streets of Rome. Sparks fly intensely, however, Leo lives on the other side of the world, and Josie doesn't know if she'll ever see him again. Is one magical night enough to turn her whole world upside down? Let me tell you, you just need one day. One day can change your entire life, and you might end up just staying and living in another country for the rest of your life. Anyway, I think it's pretty obvious why I picked this one. I think it's going to be cute. Moving on, we have 5 Nights by Rachel Wolf. Again, this is one that works well for the clock reading challenge because we got the 5. Also, just sounds really awesome. So, a powerful family, a luxury cruise, a killer on board. You're invited to join the infamous Scamando family on a 5-night voyage aboard their glamorous new ship. It's a chance to see your best friend Belle, newly married to Mattia Scamondo. You haven't seen her in years. Then we go 5. On the first night, you'll be wrapped up in the glamour of the ship. 4. On the second night, you'll wonder who is sending you threatening notes. 3. On the third night, someone will die. 2. On the fourth night, you'll discover that someone knows the truth about what you did. 1. On the last night, you'll be left for dead. Will you make it back to shore alive? Again, a kind of description that just, it gets me like, okay, yes, I want to read this one. Don't know about you, feel the same? Is that doing it for you? Anyway, moving on, we have 4 Steps to the Perfect Revenge by Lillian Monroe. This one, again, good for the clock reading challenge. See, I did add new books, but they work with my challenge. So this one right here, from the mind that brought you dirty little midlife crisis. Haven't read that, so don't know. If you have, tell me about it, let me know. Comes a funny, fast-paced ride that starts with an impulsive revenge scheme that might just end up a love story. Okay, so we have a revenge to love story scenario here. Even after their breakup, Ellie Davis can't seem to shake her ex-fiancé. First it was the cheating, then it was the rumours, and now she finds out Jason's been trying to get his greedy hands on her parents' property. Where does it end? With revenge, Ellie decides. But she might just need a little help first. Okay, so enter Fernley Island's Odd Jobs app. When the local boat mechanic she hires sends his nephew instead, Ellie has to readjust her plans to account for Hugh Hartford, who's handsome, brooding, and only in town for a few days. But he keeps showing up, so Ellie keeps hiring him. Little does she know Hugh has his own reasons for investigating Jason Brownlow. Okay, so it's intertwining stuff here, okay? As more evidence against Jason turns up, so does the heat between Ellie and Hugh. But if revenge is a dish best served cold, can their spark survive? Or will the secrets between them burn it out? Now, this book, as you can get the feels here. So, we have the romance angle, but we also have that element of, mystery and some suspense and stuff like that working in there as well. So this one seemed like it had all of my favorite genres basically mixed together in this one. So that's why that one appealed. Now, the next one that I picked up is for a very good reason. Okay, so The Mystery Writer. I got this one because I have read another book by this author and really loved it. So when I saw this one, I was like, yes, I've got to have it. So no, it doesn't work with my reading challenges. Yes, I did request it. Thank you to the publisher for sending it to me because I'm really excited about reading it. So here we have, there's nothing easier to dismiss than a conspiracy theory until it turns out to be true. Already loving it. Let's see. What can I tell you about this book? When Theodosina Benedict abandons her career path as an attorney and shows up on her brother's doorstep with 2 suitcases and an unfinished novel, she expects to face a few challenges. Will her brother support her ambition or send her back to finish her degree? What will her parents say when they learn about her decision? Does she even have what it takes to be a successful writer? Okay, so if you like books about writers, writing books, that kind of stuff, this is something that this author does well. Okay, it's good. It's good. What Tao never expects is to be drawn into a hidden literary world in which identity is something that can be lost and remade for the sake of an audience. When her mentor, a highly successful author, is brutally murdered, Theo wants the killer to be found and justice to be served. When the police begin looking at her brother, Gus, as their prime suspect, and Theo does the unthinkable in order to protect him. But the writers left a trail, a thread out of the labyrinth in the form of a story. Gus finds that thread and follows it, and in his attempts to save his sister, he inadvertently threatens the foundation of the labyrinth itself. To protect the carefully constructed narrative, Theo Benton and everyone looking for her will have to die. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a good one. Okay. Like I said, I loved the last book I read by this author, so I have high hopes for this one. Now, completely changing key here, we have a children's picture book. People. This is Ready, Set, Mars. This one because part of my New Year's resolutions, shall we call them that, is to include a larger variety of genres and things into my reading this year, and part of that I want to include is more children's books. Okay, because I love children's books. I've written children's books myself. I will link up to them for you. You can go check them out. And they also don't maybe get as talked about as other genres and things as well. So yeah, I wanted to put that there. This one, it just looked cute. It's about when space-loving siblings combine forces, their bedrooms and backyard become the launch pad to the adventure of their dreams. Okay, so this is obviously a space inspired book. And yeah, I think it's going to be cute. So I got that one. I also have another children's book on my list, which is Giving Girl and the Christmas Cookie Extravaganza by Stephanie L. Jones. This one I actually got a while ago, and yeah, it's been sitting there for a bit, but it's a nice little Christmas read, I think. So, and like I said, very different from the usual stuff that I would pick out, even for children's books. It's not one that I would generally pick up, and so I want to try and push my boundaries a little bit and experiment with other books. Again, it's children's picture books, so it's not long. It's not going to take very long to read it. The illustrations on the cover look cute, so yeah, I just want to experiment. And this one looked cute, and I got it. Obviously, my plan was to read it over the holidays. I didn't do that, but hopefully I will be reading it soon, so I can tell you all about it. Next one. So as these go down, this is basically the longer they've been on my list. Okay, so we've basically got to the point of my TBR where we finished the ones that I added recently. Okay, so these ones have been there for a little bit longer. So this is Murder at the Seven Dials. This is one, I did pick this up last year because it looked good for the Rick Clock reading challenge. I know, but see, it justifies having it on the list, you see. This one, I also heard some other book bloggers, I've seen them give some good feedback about this one. It seems to have gone down quite well. So, Murder at the Seven Dials is the first book in a new Regency set mystery series. Okay, so yeah, this one, you got the history kind of angle on it, but also the mystery. Two genres that I really like. So I thought, yeah, this could be good. So we have a murdered opera singer, a duke drenched in her blood. For Bow Street officer Hugh Marsden, the brutal killing is a straightforward case. Ever since his exile from polite society, the chance to arrest a high and mighty peer of the realm has never presented itself. Hugh won't snub the opportunity now. Okay, but Audrey Sinclair, the Duchess of Fournier, is certain her husband is wrongly accused, and she's determined to prove it to the arrogant Bow Street officer, even if she must employ her most peculiar ability, or perhaps curse, to guide her investigation. After all, a duchess can do as she pleases. Okay, exasperated with the meddling duchess, Hugh is convinced that she's protecting her own secrets and the duke's. But when Audrey's discoveries persuade him to believe the true killer's still at large, he has no choice but to join her in the hunt, if only to keep her from becoming the next victim. Sounds good though, doesn't it? So yeah, looking forward to that one. Next one up is Lucifer's Game. This one, I have to confess here, I did start reading this one last year, but just couldn't get into it, and I think that was a me thing because I wasn't feeling very well. I was having trouble concentrating and stuff like that. So I'm going to be giving this one another chance. Okay, it's set in Rome in 1942. Okay, so this is all about, Mussolini's racial persecution, the fascist leaders gathering Rome. So we've got the war angle, which I always, these books that are linked to the world wars and stuff, they always seem to have an appeal to me. I find them interesting. So from that point of view, I think this one will be cute. So obviously we have the Jewish part in here, the persecution of the Jews. It's in Italy, so obviously there's going to be lots of talk about like the Nazis and things like that, the German invasion, the Italians being with them and stuff like that. I thought it would be interesting. Okay, so it's spies, military secrets, and a personal crusade for freedom. A World War II thriller. Again, it sounds like it ticks a lot of boxes for me. Like I said, I did start it, but I was struggling. But again, I think that was a me thing at the time, so I'm going to give this one another go. Next up, we have The Thorn Necklace. Now, this one has been on my list for quite a while. I picked this one up quite a while ago. Those of you that don't know, I have written some books. Myself, and so I always find it interesting to see other authors' takes on stuff like this. Oh, sorry. I yawned. It escaped. But anyway, so I don't actually know about Bird by Bird or The Artist's Way. So from that point of view, maybe this book, I have started reading this book. I did start it a while ago, and I again struggled to get into it a bit. But I do want to finish it. And get more into it. So yeah, this is about the craft of writing, okay? And it supposedly gives an intimate glimpse of an artist at work and a detailed guide to help readers channel their own experiences and creative energy. Okay, she gives insight and powerful exercises about how to channel these experiences, all your experiences and things, and put them onto the page. So yeah, I think an interesting read. It has the potential to be. From what I've read of it so far, potentially it would work better as a book if you are familiar with the author and her work doing in it, which I am not. We'll see. Like I said, I do want to read more of it, so we'll get into that. Then we have The Fine Print of Self-Publishing. This one here again. This obviously is talking about publishing, so we're author angled here as well. I am a self-published author, and as such, like to support self-publishing and things. I am self-published by choice. I turned down some offers to do it myself. So in part because I'm a complete control freak, but also because I wanted to learn as much about the process and things as possible, and it's kind of experiments for me from that point of view. But yeah, so this book, it basically covers everything about how to determine printing costs, calculate royalties, to the most up-to-date marketing strategies. It's basically an everything about self-publishing for those that are considering going that route. So yeah, it should be interesting reading anyway. The next book that I have is one that I picked up again a long time ago. The reason why it is still on my list is the fact that it's such a long book, because it's a box set. Okay, this is Sweet Tea and Kisses. This is a contemporary romance box set. Now, the reason why I ended up getting this one is because of Susan Hattler. Now, I've been a huge fan of Susan Hattler for quite some time now. I have read a lot of her books. In fact, she has written an awful lot of books. But I have read a lot of them, and I've enjoyed all of them. She's really mastered her genre. And so this box set came up because I was reviewing other Susan Hattler stuff, and so it came through. And they asked me if I wanted to review this one, and I was like, yeah, sure. And it gave me the chance to check out some of these other authors as well. So we've got Melinda Curtis, Shanna Hatfield, Susan Hattler, Kiara Knight, Lucy McConnell, and Jennifer Peel. Okay, so lots of various different authors in this, and it's all contemporary romance. So hopefully I will get around to reading that. But again, it's lots of books because it's a box set. Next up, we have The Devil's Prayer. Again, been on my list for quite a while now. This one has actually been shortlisted for the Australian Shadow Award and Best Australian Horror Novel of 2016. So yeah, it's definitely come up with some praise there. In this one, we have a nun who commits suicide in front of thousands in Spain. And then in Australia, Siobhan Russo recognises that nun as her mother, who disappeared 6 years ago. Okay, in search for answers, Siobhan travels to the isolated convent where her mother once lived, where she discovers her mother's last confession and a book that details a betrayal that left her crippled and mute. The subsequent deal with the devil to take revenge, and desperate to bargain, the mother made a deal with the Prince of Darkness and wagers Siobhan's soul. Okay, Siobhan discovers the fate of her soul and learns that hidden within the pages of her mother's confession is part of the Devil's Prayer, an ancient text with the power to unleash apocalyptic horrors. Oh, bless me. Okay, so, and now her mother enemies know Siobhan has it. Can Siobhan escape the order of extremist monks determined to get the prayer back? Can she save the world from its own destruction? So this is it's a lot. There's a lot going on in this one. I do really want to read this one because I think it sounds really interesting. I don't normally do much horror, but this one has like enough elements to it that there's that crossover, I think, potentially between like the thrillers and things that I love, the mystery and things that I love, and then with the elements of horror thrown in. So we shall see for that one. We shall see, but it sounds interesting. Next up we have Right to Influence. Again, this has been on my list for a long time. Again, this is publishing oriented, this one. Powerful writing can change your life. That's how it opens. Yeah, it's a non-fiction, obviously, about writing. So it won't go much more into that one. Then we have the Lafayette Sword. This one, again, has been on my list for ages. This book, when I got a copy of this, everyone was talking about this book, which is why I ended up getting it. But I still haven't read it. So this is a translation from, because the original one, I believe it was in French, but it's been translated into English for this. So Gold, Obsession, Secrets, and so it's all, there's like a murder and then like following the clues and things like that. This is part of an international best-selling series that has sold 2 million copies worldwide. Okay, they said it has vivid characters, an evocative international setting, and a history darker than midnight. Okay, so it's for readers who love ancient myths, yes, secret societies, yes, chilling narrative, yes, and modern speed, yes. So I do believe that I will enjoy this one anyway. So we shall see about that one. And the next one that I have up is To the Bright Edge of the World. Now this one, again, I saw a lot of people saying how amazing this book is, and so I grabbed a copy of it. I did in the past try getting started with this one, struggled to get into it. Again, that was probably a me reading it when I wasn't really in the mood to read it kind of issue. So this is set in the Alaskan landscape, and let's see, what can I tell you about this? Let's see. Lieutenant Colonel Ellen Forrester receives the commission of a lifetime when he's charged to navigate Alaska's impassable Wolverine River with only a small group of men. The Wolverine is the key to opening up Alaska and its rich natural resources to the outside world, but previous attempts have ended in tragedy. Forrester leaves behind his young wife, Sophie, newly pregnant with the child he has never expected to have. Adventurous in spirit, Sophie does not relish the prospect of the year in a military barracks, while her husband carves a path through the wilderness. What she does not anticipate is that their year apart will demand every ounce of courage and fortitude of her that it does of her husband. So, I don't know, this one, it sounds like it has a little bit of everything as well in this one. So we've got the adventure for our husband there. We've got the story between the two, so we've got that emotional relationships and things like that. The fact that previous attempts have ended in tragedy sort of makes us think, potentially there's going to be some kind of tragedy. I don't know, it just, a lot of people said good things about it, and I was like, okay, let's try. So anyway, that is the last book on the list. Whew. I know, it's been a long one. I've tried to be as brief as possible on these. Here is a graphic with all of the books on it. So this is what I will be using to tick off the books as I go through the challenge. My goal is to tick them all off the list. Okay, so all of these little book covers on here should have a nice tick on them by the end of the year. So my question to you is, 1, have you ever read any of these books that are on my list? If you have, did you enjoy them? Did you get them through Net Galley or did you buy them somewhere else? Just curious. And also, what books are on your Net Galley TBR. How many books are on your Net Galley TBR for this year? Do you have specific motives for picking the books that you've picked? For example, the clock reading challenge, which I hope you're all doing, by the way. Again, there's a link to find out more about this year's event around there. I've done a blog post for it at jolinsdale.com, so check that out. But yeah, tell me, what books are on your to be read list for Net Galley this year? Which one are you most excited about reading? And do you, like me, have books that have been on there for way longer than they should have been? Let me know anyway. And thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.